They say that a leopard never changes its spots, and it seems after twice before,
Mm.
Germany has declared war on Russia again. But don't worry, not just yet, as the war will begin in 2029.
Oh, okay.
How do I know? Well, because Germany says so. They've declared it.
Yeah.
Uh, the head of the German Bundeswehr, Carsten Brewer, signed a directive to replenish and indeed bolster weapons in preparation of a threat from Russia in another 4 years. So I asked myself, well, based on what evidence? Because I'm
Mm.
not sure. But I think the aggression might be coming from the German side
Mm.
and sorry, the Russians. Might be something to do with Russian gas and Germany's economic depression or very minimum recession. Either way, the economy is suffering and doesn't look any healthier on the horizon. Last Sunday, the Bild newspaper published a piece about Thyanskrupp, a massive steel producer, which will reduce its central office staff by 80%.
Yeah.
80,
Yeah.
right? And they used to they have 500. They're going to reduce it down to 100
Mm.
and send its steel mills to either the Czech Republic or the minimum to a Czech owner.
Mm.
You know, uh, sell off its naval shipyard and divest in other businesses in Germany. So they're feeling the crunch.
Mm.
Now, this war between Russia and the Germans could happen sooner than anticipated, as the Chancellor Merz, not to call him Med,
That's not French.
Chancellor
It's not
Merz,
French. Yeah.
no, that's right, announced yesterday that Germany is lifting restrictions on long-range missiles
Mm.
that they will supply to Ukraine, crossing a red line which Putin plainly said would
Mm.
incriminate them as a de facto war adversary and could expect retaliation on German soil. So, the Germans are poking the bear
Mm.
and, they're saying that they're going to do all this.
Well,
Last March, just to connect the dots, last March, the German parliament changed its legislation to not count military spending in their budget, wanting to claim 5% GDP to get the hardware. And this, coupled with the suggestion of conscription for the armed forces, looks like Central Europe is preparing itself for a conflict, come what may.
right.
Salient to say that the last two conflicts between the two nations, although instigated by the Germans, didn't work out that well for them. Right?
Yes.
Do they think that it might be a case of third time's a charm?
I'm laughing, but oh dear. Right.
Yeah. Off,
Okay.
off you go. Short and sweet.
Right. If the Germans want any reminders about what happened in the previous wars, I've got a series of black books behind me that has some quite graphic pictures of the last time that the Germans went on a business expedition into Russia. Yeah. So
Tried it on.
yes, yeah, Barbarossa. Yeah,
Yeah.
is its name. And prior to that, yeah, the Germans got lucky. The Russians decided to have an internal civil war midway through the European global conflict, whatever you call it. But yeah, the World War One. Um, so, but yeah, now okay, in order to maintain peace, you go on a war footing. There is a bit of truth in that. Yeah, if you're prepared for war and you can show you're prepared for war, it might actually make people back off. Um, None of us really know what's in the Russian administration's mind. Forget Putin. Putin might not be around in 2029. Yeah, yeah, okay. Um, Due to retiring and sitting on the beach somewhere with his feet up, possibly. Yeah, with his young wife next to him. Um, what are we doing wrong, Steve? Yeah, uh, yeah. But it is yeah. Now I'm just thinking. I I have a collection of war memorabilia back in the UK. Yeah, it's a bit difficult for me to bring it to Brazil for various different reasons. Yeah, and amongst this collection, I've got a German incendiary bomb, diffused. If anyone starts panicking, it still could catch fire, but it's in a safe place. Um, and this was made in 1936, 3 years before the war. Yeah, in Hitler's timetable. And when you start reading that, well, Hitler did have a timetable. It was a bit flexible, but yeah. Um, Now I don't quite understand what is in the German administration's mind by doing this. They're not exactly in a strong position. They're coming from behind with preparing their armed forces. They've been relying on America since effectively 1948 or 47. Yeah. Um, and I mean, possibly the UK has a stronger military than they do at the moment by quite a long shot. Yeah. Poland has a stronger military than they do. Yeah.
I think Switzerland does.
Luxembourg probably has as well.
San Marino, and they're known for going forward into
Yeah,
battle.
yeah, San Marino. They've got about three guys for guns, but God, they're tough people. They're ready for it, unlike the German population are. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, conscription. Well, there's a lot of Germans actually moving as neighbours to us in Uruguay and Paraguay, so I've been told. Yeah. I don't know.
During the Second World War, man.
I've still got relatives live there. Yeah, that's it. And Argentina as well. Um, South Brazil as well. But yeah, it's a bit difficult for German to go and move to Brazil now, I believe. And Italian. But yeah, it's a I can put it. It's yeah, okay. They're making these announcements, these grand gestures. Is it rhetoric within their own people? Hitler actually worked on a premise of make Germany great again, didn't he? Really? Yeah. Is it a bit of that going on? Um, I mean,
It
Germany. Yeah.
it could be that as Donald Trump is wanting to remove his troops from Europe,
Mm.
that they're going to try and fill in a void.
Well, yeah. Okay.
But I think they're going the wrong way about it
Mm.
because whereas Trump is what probably from the most advanced country
Mm.
in the world,
Yeah.
possibly,
Yeah.
possibly.
Possibly.
Uh,
I know the caveat there. Yeah.
he's got some weight behind him,
Mm.
whereas Germany doesn't. It's a case of champagne taste but lemonade money.
Mm.
And if they're trying to just try and fill in the void that the US is going to leave behind,
Yeah.
they just might be using the wrong tactic, I think.
Yeah. I mean, they're trying to do something. Um, I mean, everyone's criticizing Trump for doing what he's doing, but he's actually quite right. Why, you guys want to criticize the US all the time and say we're bullies and everything and use our bullying to your own advantage. Yeah. Um, I mean, okay, what's happening in Eastern Europe at the moment? I mean, I can't get behind Russia doing what they're doing to Ukraine at the moment anyway, either, but let's put that's part I'm going to park that as a separate issue. Um, this And don't forget, Germany are not alone in this. It's this slow march towards another European mass conflict, and let's make no doubt on what it is. And if you think you're going to wear Russia down between now and 1929, which isn't that far away, you've got another thing coming. Russia are making alliances with other countries, and
But
not forget arms, forget military. Yeah, okay. They're also making economic, not social, economic ties with it. I mean, even Brazil is now selling things that we never sold to Russia. Yeah, because we need the money as well. We're quite happy to take rubles here, And as somebody that lives in Brazil, I'm going to make no bones about it. I don't care where the money comes from, as long as it ends up in my pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What what the BRICS does for you.
well, that's it. Yeah. I don't get much money from Europe. I get, yeah, a lot of my clients are working for people in the Americas and Asia and Africa, funny enough. Yeah, which is probably Chinese money to a point. Yeah. So yeah, from a personal point of view. But yeah, getting back to it. And the other thing is, yeah, it's conscription in Germany. How do the Germans feel about that? How do young Germans feel about that? Yeah. Um, they keep boasting they've got a good education system and producing engineers and all that. Well, congratulations on graduating. Here's your gun, boy, and here's your helmet. Off you
Yeah.
go in that direction. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There are your guns, sir, in the Crimea. Yeah. Um,
There was some speculation that the UK and France were going to be part of this little group,
yeah.
you know. But I mean, after watching Macron the other day, he can't even defend himself from his wife.
I was just going to say, can't we send Mrs. Macron into? Yeah,
There
she looks
wasn't
quite
there wasn't
formidable.
there was there wasn't much bobbing and weaving coming from him, was there?
Well, as I said, he was fighting above his category there. You know, that was badly matched fight. That was, yeah. I
Don't say punching above his weight because his wife would get really, really shirty with you, calling her fat.
well, he's only a slip of a man, isn't he? Really, you know, it's sort of possibly, yeah, probably slips in.
The
Um,
wee wisp of a lad.
but yeah, well, you look at him, yeah. Napoleon complex, definitely. Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, what are Germany doing? I mean, yeah, Germany are trying to prepare. They're trying to be the hard men of Europe.
Yeah.
Um, and who's taking them seriously? Italy? Not this time. I don't think so. Yeah. Spain? Um, Austria? Are Austria taking them seriously? I don't really know.
They might be because they're neighbours.
Yeah, yeah. Although the Austrians do laugh about the Germans. The Austrians consider themselves more intelligent than the Germans, what I understand. Yeah.
I think we all do.
Having said that, yeah, I have worked for German companies, and yes, they are very efficient at what they do. Yeah, we used to call the head office, the German company I used to work for. We got told to stop it, but we did refer to the office in Germany as the Führer bunker. So when I was in the UK, yeah, they told us, could we not call it that, please? Yeah, but
But anyway,
yeah,
coming back to the plot, I
yeah.
think if the Germans keep this rhetoric going,
Mm.
then it's going to destabilize Europe. It's going to destabilize the EU because it's going to have to put the whole of the EU on red alert. You
Are
know, and
we
not everybody's got the money
okay? If we go the timeline, are we still assuming the EU is still going to be in existence in 2029?
in 4 years.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, because one
It
for all.
won't be for much It won't be for much after. Not if the Germans have the way.
Okay, I'm going to play this record. I'm going to turn it round now. You're sitting, you're sitting in the nice palace in Moscow. Yeah, you're hearing all this, or whether the headquarters are. I mean, what would you exactly be thinking at the moment if you were if you were involved with the Russian military?
Well, I know how many men I've got,
Yeah.
right, and I know how many arms I've got,
Mm.
and I know what's deficient in Germany.
Mm.
But however, you can never ever take a threat too lightly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So that the, if you go with the assumption there's a bit more saber rattling, I mean, the Germans do actually plan everything. They're actually quite good at planning and everything else. So yeah, if they say economically we're going to take this out of there, yeah, they've done that deliberately. Yeah. In other words, it's almost unlimited spending.
It didn't work too well for them in the last two world wars. Tell you
No,
what,
but we've got to be careful looking at history like that. I mean, in the last,
that's what planning does for you.
yeah, well, actually, um, when I've been when you read actually the history of it, at first Hitler was actually quite a good strategist, yeah, strategist, yeah. He had ideas, yeah. He had the people around him that could make it happen. Um, there's a couple of things that actually happened that were fortuitous for the Allies. Yeah. Japan operating a bit too quickly, sooner than Hitler expected. Italy not being as strong as maybe Hitler believed they were. Yeah. And they're quite key things. Yeah. Okay. We can say anything can happen in any war. I mean, but yeah. And yes, America coming into the war because the direct result of Japan, which Hitler did actually know about. Yeah, he guessed. Yeah, the other side of it all is yeah, Russia did actually save Britain. When I
Yeah,
say Britain, okay, Operation Sea Lion was abandoned because he couldn't get the air cover, obviously, over Britain. Yeah, I mean that's the story everyone told. So there are other reasons for that as well. He decided to go for isolation, or more or less. Again, it's a little bit more complicated than that. And decided to bring forward Operation Barbarossa, which was why they ended up marching there in the middle of winter, which was quite a stupid thing to do. Yeah, but he had no choice. His hand was forced, allowing you couldn't allow the Russians to build up again and come against you. Yeah. Um, there was a lot of things that went right for the Germans at the beginning of the war, and then a lot of things that went wrong midway through it. Yeah.
yep, yep.
Um,
Probably ran out of plans.
well,
No, I was just joking there.
yeah, yeah. No, no, no. There
Not,
was no,
not to be pondered over too deeply.
no, no. But no, I was going to come back at you with another bit of rhetoric. But yeah, I mean, it came to the point, though, admittedly, where Hitler was probably the Allies' greatest asset because he went, okay, he was crazy to begin with. He just got crazier, yeah, more fanatical. Um, and yeah, again, yeah, there was a lot of things that actually caused Germany's downfall in World War II. It's okay, it's a crazy scheme to begin it in the beginning, first place. But if they'd have kept going with certain plans to begin with and hadn't kept changing direction, they may have just pulled off something. And when people talk about Operation Valkyrie, the assassination attempt on Hitler, it was never to stop, it was never to give back land, it was to actually stop the war and just consolidate what already been won. Yeah. There was never a plan to actually admit defeat as such.
You
Yeah.
think they'll do that with Mertz? No, I just once again, it's not a serious
No, no,
question.
no, no. But the thought went through my mind: how would the Germans react to what's been going on in conscription? Yeah. Um, if I was any European leader at the moment, I'd be very, very worried.
Just that, how would the Germans deal with it? Just ask a Ukrainian,
Yeah.
then that's your answer.
Well.
We did the podcast the other week
Mm,
about how many British people would go into the to into conscription, how many would fight for the country, and
mm,
hardly anybody turned up. Which is throughout Europe, all the troop numbers are down.
yeah.
It's
Well.
gonna you need to have to spend an awful lot of money, especially if you're in the EU, because
Mm,
normally you have to go through via the EU to do anything
yeah.
in that part of the world. And we mentioned also in another podcast that Germany's going rogue. Let's think about going rogue from NATO.
Mm,
So the big three, the big three,
big three.
the
I know what you're saying.
Germany,
Yeah.
Germany, France, and the UK.
Yeah.
Think of banding together. Saying that, I don't see Russia uh, giving Germany much slaver.
No.
It's all coming from the German side. It's all coming from the EU side,
Yeah.
and they just have to be careful with what they're going to say.
Well, okay. You got to be strong with Russia. No, I'm not going to deny that. You got to be strong with Russia, but if you get so strong with Russia, you build Putin up. Yeah, he's seen then as a strong savior against
Yep.
the oppressive Western Europeans. And
Mm.
okay, it's not. We're not talking about the Russia of even 40, 50 years ago. We're now talking about a new Russia that's a little bit more open and things. But if the Russians are feeling threatened, they'll automatically go to default position, strong leader. Yeah. And that is in the Russian mindset. And you even talk to moderate Russians about that. Why is Putin not loved, but has quite a lot of support in Russia? Yeah. He's probably still the most popular leader of any European nation, inverted commas, if you understand what I'm meaning by that. Yeah. If you do a survey, you'll probably find more Russians, honestly, would rather Putin was in charge than anyone else. You ask a British person, what do you think about your present administration? Yeah. Or you ask a German, or you ask a French person. Possibly Italy is a reverse of that. They like their leadership there. And she does seem to be courting some support outside of the EU as well, Melanie. Yeah. Um, Spanish leadership, nah. Um, Polish leadership, I'm not sure about. They seem to be playing it both ways at the moment, but Poland are fiercely nationalistic. So any leader that's going to be there, if they try and turn from being nationalistic, they're going to be in trouble. Yeah. Um, Hungary we know about. Yeah. Again, get back to the German issue. Yeah, I mean it's saber rattling. It's probably planning. You don't normally tell your enemy that you're arming. You can
Yeah.
imply it.
Well,
Yeah.
they declared it.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, if that's a thinly veiled, it's not so much of a thinly veiled threat towards Putin or Russia, whatever. Yeah, are Putin and Russia yeah, interchangeable at the moment? Yes. I mean, I'm looking longer term. Putin isn't going to be there forever.